Let's review factoring when a is not 1 in 5 minutes or less. So before you factor, your trinomial must be in standard form. So that means we want it to be in ax squared plus bx plus c form. Notice that 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 is in standard form. So when we factor, we need to find factor pairs that are going to multiply to now a times c, and they're going to add up to b. So if we look at the example, 3x squared plus 7x plus 2, we need a factor pair that's going to now multiply to a times c, which is equal to 3 times 2, which is 6. And it needs to add up to our b term, which is 7. The factor pair that's going to work here is 1 and 6, but we can't just write our trinomial in factored form yet. Factoring when a is not equal to 1 involves just a few more steps. So let's look at what those steps are here. So like we said, this trinomial is in standard form, and we know that a times c is equal to 6. So we're going to be looking for factors of 6 that are going to add up to 7. So the factors of 6, if we write them out, they're 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. AC is positive, and also our B is positive, so both our factors are going to be positive. So now when you look at the sums, 1 plus 6 equals 7, so that is the pair that we need. So when we write this out, we're going to write this as 3x squared plus 1x plus 6x plus 2. So if you're thinking about where I got these numbers from, that 1 and 6 came from that factor pair that I found. Notice that what I did is I took this 7x and I wrote it as 1x plus 6x. So what I did is I expanded out that term. What I do now is I put my terms into two groups. So the first two terms, 3x squared plus 1x, I put them together. And then the second two terms, 6x plus 2, I put those together. Now I'm going to look at each set individually and figure out the GCF. So let's look at the first set. 3x squared and 1x, well, 3 and 1 don't have a common factor, right? So if you want, you can say you can factor out a 1, or you can leave out the 1. It's up to you. The x squared and x, I can factor out an x. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide that monomial out of both these terms. So when I do that, that's going to leave me with 1x, which is just x, times 3 divided by 1, which is 3, x squared divided by x, which is just x, plus 1 divided by 1, which is 1, x divided by x is 1, so that's just going to be 3x plus 1. Now let's look at the second set. We have 6x plus 2. If I look at the GCF, I can divide both 6 and 2 by 2, and so I can't pull out an x from both terms because both terms don't have an x in it. So I'm going to do 6x divided by 2 plus 2 divided by 2. So that leaves me with 2 times 6 divided by 2, which is 3, and then just x, plus 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So now notice that I have a common binomial, right? I have that 3x plus 1. So when you write this as a final factored form, you can write it as the inside terms, 3x plus 1, times the outside terms, right? X plus 2. And that is now the factored form of the original trinomial, 3x squared plus 7x plus 2. So let's look at another example. We have 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. So notice that this is in standard form. So let's find a times c. So that's going to be 2 times negative 15, which is equal to negative 30. So I need factors of negative 30 that are going to add up to negative 7. I'm going to start off by listing out the factors of 30. So I have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6. So my 30 is negative, so my AC is negative. Both my factors will have opposite sign. B is negative, so my bigger factor is going to be negative. So I'm going to make all these bigger factors negative. 1 and negative 30 is negative 29. 2 and negative 15 is negative 13. 3 and negative 10 is negative 7, so that is the pair that I need. So I'm going to write this now as 2x squared plus 3x minus 10x minus 15. I'm going to put my terms into two groups, so I have 2x squared plus 3x, and then plus negative 10x minus 15. From 2x squared and 3x, I can factor out just an x, so I'm going to divide both my terms by x. And so when I do that, I end up with x times 2x plus 3. And then from my second group, if I have the leading coefficient negative, I'm going to go ahead and factor out that negative also. 10 and 15 have a common factor of 5, so I'm going to divide both terms by negative 5. And so then that's going to leave me with minus 5 times negative 10 over negative 5 is 2, and then I have just x. Negative 15 over negative 5 is going to be plus 3. So when I write this as my final product, I have 2x plus 3 times x minus 5, which is now the factored form of this trinomial. So there you have it, factoring when a is not 1 in 5 minutes or less.